This will be posted. It will be available immediately. If you wanted to watch it right now, you could rewind all the way to the beginning and watch it on YouTube right now. As soon as I close this out, YouTube will process it so that they will have that available on there as well. So you'll be able to watch it on YouTube practically immediately after I close out the stream officially. There'll be a short time frame where nothing will be available, but it's a matter of minutes, and it will be available for replay there as well. And then I render it into a 1080p and upload it to YouTube as an edited version where I take out the beginning. I probably take this out because who cares? Those types of things. There was not a code word for this study group. I just didn't put one in, but if you send me an email that has any of the questions that I asked, and you can do this with any of the study groups. Before I started asking the questions, you just send me one of the questions that was asked in the study group. I know you watched it, so you can always do that as well. Good stuff there. Gosh, thanks for joining me on that one. There's a lot of recommendations, a lot of topics everyone would like to cover with that. Okay. For those of you that like to call in, we don't usually get a lot of calls for the Network Plus study group, but I'll take some calls. The phone lines are open. So if you want to call in, the phone line available on the ProfessorMesser.com/live website. You can call in at 347-989-8745. I've also got an 800 number for those of you using Skype. Anywhere in the world, you can call. 855-235-4742. That number again, 855-235-4742. I am standing by. There's chat room. Thanks for being in there. Yeah, I mentioned early, like 2 minutes before we went live, that this chat room that we are using will be going away. The company that provides this chat on my website has chosen not to continue to provide the chat. So they will be shutting it down at the end of September. So I've already been looking at other options. I think it will be something more open source. I think it will be something more flexible. It will have a similar feel to what is here now. It probably will not have Twitter or Facebook integration. Sad face. Because I kind of like that. People can kind of jump in. But what I'll do is probably integrate it back to my WordPress login. So when you register for an account on the Professor Messer website, that will ideally also enable the chat on your screen as well. That's the idea. Sure would be nice to get that going. I wonder if that's really going to work the way I want, but it's a lot more work on my side. This will not be a third party. It will be my own chat. So I've got to spin up a new server. So I've got to, fortunately, everything on my servers is cloud-based through Rackspace. I'll just go to Rackspace, say, spin me up a Linux box, and poof, the Linux box appears. Very useful to have that there. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I've got to load the software. I'll probably use Jabber, which is an XMPP. It's a very common, standard, industry standard way of doing chat. Ideally, this also means that we might be able to use a separate client from our mobile device, from our desktop, be able to chat in the chat rooms without necessarily being on the Professor Messer website. It does support someone is typing. It does support group chat rooms like we have here. I could possibly use the Twitter APIs. You're correct. And I've looked into that, but that gets into a nasty thing about using the Twitter APIs. Although I don't think for authentication, I don't think I'm using the Twitter API for that. For authentication, I think it is a separate mechanism. So that may be a good idea to be able to do that. I know the one I'm looking at will be able to authenticate via WordPress. So yeah, I should do a study group on how the heck this stuff is set up, because this gets a little bit crazy. There's stuff everywhere. There's things all over this room that get things running. So I'm making some changes though in the next couple of months. So what I'm probably going to do, this is like an airport or a hospital. It's never finished. So I'm going to make some changes. Things will be different. And then we'll do one. We'll do a walkthrough on everything that's here, because you don't get to see. There's two racks on the floor. There's one on the left and the right of me in this desk, and they're full of stuff. There is stuff in here. I've got plenty of stuff. It's a quiet rack. You don't even hear it. If I open it up, I wonder if I even get background noise on this mic. Probably won't. You can't even hear it because of the mic. Spent extra money to get a quiet rack, and the microphone I use doesn't get, because if you come off this microphone at all, you really can't hear anything that's going on this side. So it's one of the beauties of this PR40 is that little piece. Oh yes, there's study sessions for the A+. I don't have next month's study groups planned out yet. I don't know what dates they will be, but I'm hoping we can do the A+ earlier in the month, the Network Plus later in the month. It kind of worked out, although it usually depends on life. Life is the thing that it all breaks up and determines. Some weekends I'm available, others I am not. I can really only do these on the weekend, so it does become a little bit of a challenge. Yes, my network addressed storage, my network attached storage, my NAS box, my Synology is down here, and it is just wonderful. I'll buy a disk, I'll slide it in there, boom, we're running. It's just the best. No, I have, for the chat room says, explain the configuration detail could be the invitation to hackers. Yeah, I won't give you public IP addresses. When we did a dig up professormesser.com, you're not really hitting my servers yet. So I have multiple things set up along the way. I have reverse proxies that take you to a load balancer, which take you to the servers, the web servers, to which communicates to a central database server on the backside. So I'm not going to show you the public side of things. I've intentionally set up these layers so that the only IP addresses you know of are the IP addresses that provide the reverse proxy capability. So, I do work in security throughout the week. So I know things to look for and things to watch for. It's not a 100%. There's always going to be something you miss. There's always going to be a piece of software that wasn't updated that's got a vulnerability. There's always going to be a piece of software that nobody knows the vulnerability, but the bad guys do. You always have to at least have those layers out there. So I'm really trying to make sure I have as many layers as possible there that not only in this particular case gives me security, but it also actually gives you performance. The reverse proxy caches information for me. So you may be hitting my website. You may never hit my real web server. You may just be getting a copy of a lot of that information. So it's a very nice way to set things up. It really would be worth just doing a series of videos to show how you would set something like that up, because a lot of people, it took me a while even. I'm no web server expert. And now I've got to figure out, how do I integrate a load balancer with WordPress? I've got WordPress running in two places. How do those sync up? If I add a new WordPress plugin, how does that show up on the other server without me having then to go to the other server? So there's got to be mechanisms in place for that. How does everybody keep all the PHP sessions in sync across both of those servers? There has to be a central cached view of the PHP sessions. There's a lot of moving parts there, but it just works wonderfully. It works fantastically. I could not have done it without my IT team, and I don't have an IT group. I am a customer of Rackspace. I call them. I have managed cloud servers. I call them and say, I need this done. Can you do this for me? They go, yeah, we can do that for you. Do this right now. Because, for instance, I set all of this up, and then I didn't have a way to monitor it. So I asked them, what do I do? They go, well, we got a lot of customers, and here's what they're doing to be able to monitor their server. And it gives me feedback on what's going on. They said, well, you should just load up New Relic and get that running. And in fact, that's exactly what I did. So I can load up and see in an instant, how's the server running? Is anybody really hitting it? Anybody really causing a lot of information? What's happening on it? My database servers, my web servers, I can break all of that down and get a feel for what's happening. It's kind of busy right now because we're doing the live event. There's people on the website. Now you're flipping around, you're looking at things, which is great. I built it so that if I needed to roll up another web server tomorrow, you guys are hitting it, there's a bunch of activity and you need more processing power, I can just spin up another web server, connect it all up, and we're up and running. Very, very simple. to make that happen. So it's one of those things where that, yes, that is not an Apple logo behind me. That is an Apple computer behind me. I've added a new Mac to what's back here. This is a Apple Cube. Let me grab the cube. I'll show you my new toy. It's an actual PC. It looks awesome. Okay. There we go. There you go. My new computer. Apple Cube. That is the whole thing. It's actually on the bottom are the ports. There's nothing on the cube at all. This is a G4 processor. So this is sort of kind of the older style Mac. Let me put this back. It's heavy. Why do we make computers this heavy? Okay. You can see my very formal attire. There, I am not Apple certified. I'm not an Apple tech. I am as Apple tech certified as I can get by going to iFixit. That's about it. I've changed batteries in my phone. And that's about as far as I want to go with that. That's a G4. It is actually working G4. I could plug it into a screen right now, boot it up. It actually has two partitions on it. One that is OS 9, one that's OS 10. Get those running. I really need to do that one time. It'd be kind of fun to boot it up. I've got to plug it into my video switcher so you can see all of those things. Now it's got a glare on it. See the glare of the lights? So I'm going to have to fix that when I'm off here. I've got to spin it around to be able to do that. Yes, the attacks, bit of a challenge with those. Yeah, the Mac Pro is the new one. That is the cylinder. That's a brand new one. Pretty nice. I'm looking at that one, but right now I'm using an iMac. Well, the latest generation of iMacs. This is just a monitor plugged into the iMac here. And I get very, very good rendering times with this. So I'm not really looking at upgrading at the moment. But it's worth doing. I think the upgrade would be the next upgrade. Next upgrade would be Mac Pro. It's got a lot more power. I can feed it more memory. Well, actually, this one's pretty good on memory. How much memory have I got in this machine? I have 32 gig of memory. It is this machine. I can show you things because we have a switcher that's there. So that's OS 10, 32 gig, 3.4 gig i7. So this is the biggest, baddest i7 I could get because there's just so many videos. I've already rendered 105 videos for Security Plus in the last few weeks. So it's just constant editing, constant rendering when I get into that mode. That's one of the things we do is I generally will build out the content, all of the slideware that you see. I'll then build the study guide so that I'll have all of the information from my slides then put into a study guide. Then I shoot the videos. They all go in the can. Then sometimes I will render as I go. The Security Plus one, I shot all the Security Plus videos over a series of weeks. And then I go through and now I'm editing them all. They're all on disk. In fact, I had 3 that as I'm going through and editing, like, I didn't like that one. I'm going to do that one again. So before I sat down and started the stream today, I shot 3 other videos. I went back and reshot 3 other videos. So now I'll go back, I'll just edit all those up. And it's great because everything works through the switcher that I have. The video switcher records all the video. It records my screen. It records the camera. It puts them on 2 separate video files. I can bring those together into an editor and edit it all out. Edit it all out. Edit it. So that's one of those. If you fail the Network Plus exam, you're not going to fail the network. You're going to do great. But if you were to fail the Network Plus exam, you could retest. You can retest immediately on your first retest. There's a retest policy at CompTIA. If you're interested in seeing that, Google the retest, CompTIA retest policy. There is. You probably want to go back to your study guide or to your exam objectives. Go through the exam objectives. They will tell you what you missed. They will tell you the sections that you missed. They won't tell you the exact questions, but they'll tell you you did this well in subnetting, you didn't do this well in security, and you can go back and study more in those particular areas. But use the exam objectives. They're a great checklist. They have tons of information in them. Take advantage of that. There's just plenty to go through with those pieces. No, the cost is not free to take your test again. If you fail your exam, you got to pay again unless you bought a voucher at the very beginning that cost a little more, but it includes 1 retest or 2 retests. Different vouchers provide different functions. Some vouchers have take the test, you can get a retest, and we'll give you sample questions. The price goes up. Depends on the voucher you purchase. That kind of thing. More coffee today. Going through and doing those first 3 videos and then hitting the study group, my voice was already warmed up, but it gives out much faster. Much faster. That was a good study group today, I thought. Thanks for the feedback on the questions. I'm trying to focus the questions a little bit better to the exam content. It actually is a little easier for me to do the Network Plus study group because I'm not writing Network Plus questions during the week yet. So I don't have a daily pop quiz for Network Plus yet. So one of the things that is easy, I can sit down and do them very fresh when I'm doing that piece. So that is a very expensive exam, you're right, to miss and then have to pay again. So if sometimes, and then somebody did mention this week, and I can't argue with the strategy. I can't argue with it actually a little bit. They bought a voucher that had a retest on it. And without studied for a few hours, went in and took the exam, knowing that he had a retest. And he said, my idea was that I'd go in and get the exam experience, get an idea of the type of questions that were being asked, come out of it, write down as much as I could that I could remember onto a piece of paper, and then kind of study now legitimately and use the retest as finally the actual purchase. He paid more for that. I don't know that that's really necessary to go through the exam objectives to the exam experience. I think that it's not difficult. He wanted to get a feel for the performance-based questions, though. So I can kind of understand where they're coming from with that. The idea, though, was kind of the whole thing kind of fell apart, though, when you consider having to pay the extra money to be able to do that. And at the end of it, you're going to get different questions. It's a big pool of questions. You may get completely different questions all the way through. But it was important to him. So maybe worth the investment for what he was doing there. I don't know. Yeah, certifications it doesn't replace a degree. Some employers like you to have a formal degree, a formal education, a associate degree, a technical degree, a 4-year degree, a master's, a doctorate. I don't know about that, but some employers love that and they prefer that. Other employers don't care. They want you certified. If you got a certification, you're good here. We'll train you to do the rest. So it's really up to who you're talking to. If you have both, it's even better. The formal degree tends to help you not only in your initial job hunt, it probably helps you more later on because you're not going to stay in that job forever. You're going to want to move up or move laterally or move into management or do something of that sort. And the formal degree looks great on a resume or a CV. So don't discount. A lot of people come into the chat room during the week and go, this scam of 4-year colleges has to end. This is ridiculous that we're having to take a 4-year degree. It doesn't help you. I don't know why they always go up at the end of it's a chat. I don't know why that happened. And I guess, when you're initially trying to get a job, maybe they've got a point, but it's not worthless. It does give you something. The more things you have available to pull out of your curriculum vitae hat, the better off you're going to be. So don't miss that. Don't miss an opportunity for those things. I think there's a great place to go with those pieces. All right, we've gone for, Holy cow, an hour and 40 minutes. And I've already been talking for a while. So it's just about time, unless anybody has any specific questions, I think it's just about time to wrap up the after show. I have editing to do. I have plenty of editing to do. This study group takes up the first hour and something minutes, and then this extra group I actually render overnight. It takes hours to render that one because I do it in 1080p. Usually most of my videos I'm doing in 720p. I'm going to have to shift that around and start some 1080p videos next time. But the 720p videos render much faster than the 1080p, which are much bigger from a rendering perspective. So it usually takes hours and hours, and then it's over a gig of video that I upload to YouTube. But I think it's nice to have the replay be that high resolution so that you can see everywhere I missed the makeup and the powder's already coming off the nose and it's shiny. You'll get to see all that. You get to see everything. You get to see the details. Is there anything in his teeth? What is that? Is there something there? No, I think we're good. That's what we have to do. So thanks for joining us again for the study group. It's I love doing these. I'd love to do more of these. And if anybody has any suggestions for an XMPP/Jabber compliant web-based client, I would love to hear about it. Maybe one you've used, maybe a website you like, maybe the chat that's there. There's not a lot, but I love the chat on the website, and I'm going to work hard to make sure we've got something that works really, really, really well when we roll this out. It will not be the old chat, or it will not be this chat. It will not be the chat that I tried a number of months ago. I guess I knew something was going to happen in the back of my mind. So we'll keep going with that. I'll put up a demo of it somewhere and we can try it. I'll tweet out and we can see if it really does work. Does it really work? Maybe not. That's one of those challenges with bringing up the chat. Might not be so great to start with, but I will get it working there. So that's going to finish us up for now. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the study group. Thanks for joining us on the after show. We do one of these every month. Don't forget to check in. And I'll also put notices up there. Currently no plans for Security Plus study group at the moment. I need more time in my day to be able to do study groups, but I think those would be a lot of fun to be able to do that. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Network Plus study group.